This is Gemara in Kesubos, the Daf Ayin, all the learning for this month, the month of Elul, Anila Doidi, V'Doidi Li, is sponsored as incredible Zchut Neshama of Reyzel, Mair. Emir Tashem, the learning being Derech Habura, Daf by Daf, should bring Reyzel, Mair to an higher place in Gan Eden Shel Maila. We're holding on the bottom of Samach Tessim and Bees. We are 6 lines from the bottom. And says the Gemara, an interesting story, Ilfa Tolan Avshei Besikta Demechusa. Illa went and he literally balanced on the mast of a sail and he's hanging up on top of this boat. And Amar, and he said, if there's anyone that could come and tell me something from the yeshiva of Rav Chiya and Rav Aishia, and I am not able to tell you which Mishnah it came from, if you could tell me a Mishnah and I don't know the source, I will fall off this mast and drown in the sea below. Ilfa challenges all the people around. So the old man, that old man came and Tanalei, and he asked him the following brisa. And of course, this is why this comes into our Gemara. If someone says, give a shekel to my son each week, of course he's saying this to the trustee, to the shlish, to the person in charge of the estate, give a shekel to my son each week. But really, the estate is large enough, he can really give them a selah, which is 2 shekels. What's the halacha? That's indeed what you give them. But if he says, he says, do not give them only a shekel, then indeed, you only give them a shekel, even though it's really insufficient, they really need a selah. If he says, and he limits by saying, give them only this, then you give them only that. In the second to the last line, and if he says, and if they die before the entire estate is consumed, meaning weekly, what are they getting? They're getting each week the selah or the shekel. So if he says that at the end, when they're nifter, what happens? Everything goes Yershu Acharei and Tachteihem. Other people should inherit the rest of the estate, clearly showing he does not want the estate to be fully depleted. Then, then whether he said give them a shekel, whether he said give them only a shekel, in both scenarios, because the father is clearly explaining that he wants there to be something left over for the Yarshim, the halacha is we only give them a shekel. So the old man says to Ilfa this brisa. So Ilfa responds, Mani. So who indeed is the Tana of this brisa that you're quoting is Rabbi Meir. This is indeed Rabbi Meir. So Ilfa withstands the test and says this indeed is the Shita of Rabbi Meir. What's the halacha in the aforementioned scenario? In both scenarios, whether he says give them a shekel, give them only a shekel, we give them everything that they need. Says the Gemara, really? We know the lach is like Rameir, like we saw in the top line, that we should fill the words of the mace. So why we give them everything they need? Seemingly the mace said to give them only a shekel. Explains the Gemara, says the Gemara, that's only by other items. But in this case, we assume that the father is happy for them to get all their needs. So why indeed did the father say, give them a shekel a week? If he's really happy for them to receive as much as they need, why would he say such? Says the Gemara, you're just coming to urge, you're just coming to push them along to give. But indeed, he's happy with giving them only that amount. Says the Gemara, Tanan, also we learned in the Mishnah. A very similar halacha as we conclude the 6th parak. Ha'pu'uta is mechar mucharin mechar. A pu'uta, a small child, the halacha is if they sell something, it's valid, and if they give something as a and if they buy something, it's valid, and if they sell something, it's valid. B'mitalton with regard to movable items. Amar Rafram Leishana Shein Shama Apatrapis, says Rafram. This is only if there's no Apatrapis, if there's no one to administer, to be in charge of these kids. Then that which the kid does is nothing mimai. From the fact that you're saying, as our Mishnah taught us, that the actions of a ketana are nothing. Says the Gemara, what's the rayo? Maybe shiny, maybe in a case where there is a shlish. That's our Mishnah is referring to. Our Mishnah is referring to specifically a case where there's a shlish who is put in charge of taking care of the estate. So maybe that's when it's different than in the case over here. Explains the Gemara, if that would be true, the words of the Bryce that the actions of a ketana are nothing, afilu be'alma, that the pa'utais, these ketanim, can buy or sell even in general, in all scenarios. Hadron alach metzias isha, we should do an incredible chazara of the 6th parak of Kesubos. And as always, we go headstrong directly into the next Mishnah, to the 7th parak of Kesubos, in which we begin in discussing nidarim, if someone makes a vow, a neder, when it is a reason to force the wife to get divorced, and the repercussions. So says the Mishnah, if someone makes a neder, someone makes a vow prohibiting his wife, saying to his wife she cannot have any benefit for him up to 30 days. Yamod Barnes, what does he have to do? He has to set up someone to support his wife. His wife has to be able to live, has to be able to eat. Then he sets up someone to take care of her. Yasser Mikay. If it's more than 30 days, then Yoitse V'yitin Ksuba, then he has to divorce her. He can't leave her not having support for more than 30 days. He has to divorce her and give her a ksuba right away. Rav Yehuda Omer b'Yisrael chaydesh echad yikayim v'shnayim yotzevin ksuba. Says Rav Yehuda, this thing that you're saying of 1 month is only a Yisrael. But when it comes to a kayin, the halachas are different because a kohen is never able to machzir grushasa. A kohen is never able to remarry his divorcee. Therefore, we have to be more careful before they get divorced. And therefore, if there is a neder for 2 months, we then tell them to get divorced. But, after 3 months. But 2 months, they stay married. And similarly, continues the Mishnah 6 lines down. If someone makes a neder that she's not going to eat any fruit, and we'll see in the Gemara, this doesn't just refer to fruit. In reality, he's making a neder from his wife to having any intimate pleasure from him. But the way that he makes the neder chalas, we'll see tomorrow, is that he says, and if you eat the fruit, then you will not be able to have any intimate pleasure from me. The halach is, he has to divorce her and give a ksuba. Rav Yehuda Omer, again, Rav Yehuda mimicking the din in the Reishta that if it's a kayin, we wait an extra day, we wait an extra amount of time before getting divorced because there's no turning back by a kayin. Now the third case, if someone makes a neder on his wife that she cannot put on a certain type of perfume. And again, Rashi explains that in all these cases, it's not that a husband makes the neder, because the husband can't make a neder for his wife not to have benefits, but rather, she made the neder and the husband was mekayim, the husband affirmed the neder. The halach is yotiv diksuba Rav Yisrael ba'aniya shelo nasik sitzva or ba'kishira shleishim yom. Says Rav Yosi, in the case of a woman without any money, then they only have to be divorced if he didn't give a time limit when she's not allowed to wear makeup. Because since poor women don't wear makeup so much, it's only if it's indefinite. But as a wealthy woman, of course, she wears makeup more commonly. If their neder is for more than 30 days, then there's grounds for divorce. So says the Gemara in the bottom of Ayin and Aleph, let's try to figure this out. The Mishnah taught us that if one makes a neder, then it potentially could cause them to have to get divorced. Seemingly, the neder has binding factors. Seemingly, it's a real neder. So says the Gemara and asks the Gemara, but even the Meshubah says the Gemara, I don't understand. Since the husband is obligated to support his wife, how is he able to make a neder forbidding her from getting benefit? Kol kamine temavki lala shibuda. Is it in his power to take away from her shibud? She has a shibud. She gets certain benefits. How can the husband remove those benefits from his wife? Vatanan, ask the Gemara. We learned in the Mishnah, if a woman says to her husband, I'm making a neder, a kainam, that I'll not work for your benefit. Ein noit tzarich lahafer, the halacha is you do not have to get rid of this neder, because this neder is meaningless, it has no force. It's not chal. Why? Explains the Gemara in the last narrow line. Since she is a shiva, she has an obligation to her husband to work for him. Therefore, the neder has no power to remove from that shiva. So I asked the Gemara, since he's obligated to her, it's on his power to remove her from that obligation. Therefore, the neder should not take effect. Answers the Gemara, the last line of Ayin Amar Aleph, because the husband is able to tell his wife, I'm not going to support you. Take your earnings and support yourself. Na says, we turn over to Ayin Amar Beis, Na says, we make it as if that was the case. And since if you were to say that, he would not actually have to support his wife, therefore the neder, the vow, could indeed take effect. But continues the Gemara in the second line of Ayman Beis, ask the Gemara 1 second. But if it's true that which Avun Amarav said, that a woman has the power, we saw this a few days ago, to say to her husband, I'm not working for you and I'm not going to eat your food. When a woman says, when I make a neder to be your mouth, why does the husband not have to annul to be made for the neder? The neder should not take effect. Lema, let us say, just like she's able to say, I'm not working for you, I'm not going to take your cash. Just like he could say to her, don't give me what you earn, and I will not support you. So to the husband, she'll be able to say, I'm not going to get any food, I'm not going to work and give to you. So if the husband's neder shows that this should work, it should be the same thing. Ella, so explains the Gemara, do not say it's as if he made her give away her earnings, that which she works for. Ella, the case is in reality that they said, take your support in lieu of your work. Says the Gemara, I don't understand, the Mishnah makes no sense. Why do you have a parnas, a shlish, a trustee to help support for this person? If this woman, if she's keeping her wages, then she doesn't get any support from husband anyways. Answers the Gemara, but the is Safka. 10 lines down, the first word line is Safka. Says the Gemara, you know why? Because the woman, that what she makes is not enough to support herself. And therefore the halacha is the husband has to make up the rest of the support. And that's why the husband is giving the shlish to make sure the wife gets that which she deserves. Ask the Gemara, but I understand, if her earnings are not enough, then we go back to square one, that how could a husband make a neder to make his wife usher? He's obligated to support her. So what's the difference if he's obligated full support? He's obligated just to make up the difference. Either way, the husband is obligated to support his wife. If the neder should not be chal. Amar Ravashi, 15 lines down. The first one line is Amar Ravashi b'misapekes l'dvarim gedolim. The case is that the money that she makes is enough for all the big items or the larger purchases, but they're not enough for the small items. So in such a scenario, when she makes a neder, the neder does indeed take effect, but the husband has to support someone to support her with the small items that she needs. Asks the Gemara, what do you mean by small items? Either gilabu or a gilabu. If she's accustomed to them, so who cares that the small items? The husband is obligated to support her like she's accustomed to. If she's not in ruggle, she's not accustomed to them, so why are we supporting her? Why are we providing with this partners, with this person that supplies with her that which she needs? Explains the Gemara, that the case is that she was accustomed to these items in her father's house, but then Megalgula Ba'adei, she was going without them to get married. To Amrale, because she says to him, Until now, when you, my husband, did not make a neder, I was willing to follow you. But now that you made a neder that I can't have any benefit, I cannot go along with you any longer, and then I need to be provided for. So says the Gemara, what's this 30 days? Explains the Gemara, but more than 30 days, people hear about it and people talk about it and disgrace it. Therefore, more than 30 days, it's not a possibility. Another Taret says the Gemara, you know the narrative says that he made the neder that she's not allowed to have any benefit. At what point? After she did Erisin, but she did not do Nisuin yet. And since he's not obligated to support his wife, therefore there's no lien on the properties. And that's why the neder takes effect. But says the Gemara, very good, the neder takes effect. And the last narrow Arusa Miisli Mazaini. But in Arusa, after only Erisin, she doesn't get supported. Explains the Gemara, as we've seen many times, Shagiyah's man of Loinisa, the cases where the time came to get married, but they did not get married. The husband held back. The halacha is that she's allowed to eat from his stuff. She's allowed to eat shuma. So what's the deal with 30 days? It's a practical item that the shlichus will only do a shlichus for 30 days and no more. Iba Yisema on the third line explains the Gemara says that they made the neder when she was on a rusa, and then she got married. So since when the neder was made, he was not obligated to support her, therefore the neder takes effect. And even after she has nisuin, the neder is still chal. But ask the Gemara, if she married after you took the neder, so then she must have known about the neder and she agreed to it. So why then is she allowed to say, I want to get divorced? Explains the Gemara, the Amra Kesfura Anish Ani Chol Cholekabel. I thought I could withstand it. I thought I don't need these items, but now I see that I actually need them. So explains the Gemara, when do we say this entity with regard to movement? I don't understand. She accepted upon it the deal without actually getting mezainis. That means she could do it. So how could she demand mezainis at a later date? The original Taretz is the correct one. And just to begin, we're 7 lines down to the 2 dots, that actually Shemem Yar Parnas, the Mishnah taught us that up to 30 days, he sets up a parnas, a steward, a third party, to support her. So says the Gemara, I don't understand. The parnas is doing the shlichus. So what is the difference whether the husband is there or not? The parnas is acting on their own and not as, the parnas is acting as a shlichus. So Amar Avuna, you know what's going on over here? You don't actually hire them outright. The husband says, whoever supports, whoever gets involved and helps me out by supporting my wife, Loi Mafsid will not lose. So says the Gemara, that's going to be the case in which the parnas is considered as if he's acting on his own and not as a shliach of the husband. But says the Gemara, what are you talking about? If someone says that line of anyone who helps you out is not going to lose, that's not called shlichus. But we learned in the Mishnah, if someone is thrown into a pit, and he yells out, whoever hears my voice, right, to get to my wife, you're allowed to listen to him. So how can that be? How is that possible? We see that when someone says Kol Hazanin Mafarni, someone says whoever helps me out is not going to lose. That's called explicit instructions, and that's why you let it use even forgetting. Explains the Gemara. Over there, he said explicitly to write it, but by us it's not the case. Kol Hazan Kamar. Ask the Gemara further. But we know that by the lake of someone's house, or when the sun is burning down, he's allowed to scream out to the Goyim, whoever puts out my house is not going to lose. But the lake from the fact that it's not the case by the lake by a fire, what does that come to? Exclude does not coming to exclude our case, which it would not work. And says referring to other cases on Shabbos, but it's not necessarily talking to our case. Masiv Rabba so asks Rabba, if someone makes a neder from his friend not to get benefit. He's not to go to the storekeeper that they usually go to. And he tells the storekeeper that this person can't get any benefit from me. Even I don't know what to do. This guy is starving. Who nice and light. So the storekeeper understands that which he means, and then he goes and he gives the person the money, the food, and then he afterwards comes and collects. So we see that you could do such a thing. Answers the Gemara, it's actually all part of the kasha. It sounds like only in this case is where it's allowed. But if someone yells out and says whoever supports not going to lose does not work. Answers the Gemara, he's talking to everyone, but this is a bigger chiddush. Because he said it explicitly, you would think maybe it's called a tzivoy kamash malan. That's not the case. We'll pick it up from a gufa in the next year.